is their Cordoba creator of the Leicester equaliser. El Khanous, how much room does he have here? El Khanous going for goal, and he finds it as well. What a turnaround here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
4 minutes, Leicester have soaked up so much pressure. Fatawi jinking feet to get beyond his man, and the header from Jamie Vardy makes it 2.
Wood should score. Wood Knockout. Yes! Anthony Knockout has done it.
Tielemans lining one up. What a goal! What a brilliant goal by Yuri Tielemans. And the Leicester City fans go absolutely potty.
Ball in behind Damian Vardy. It's 11. It's heaven for Jamie Vardy. Hold the back page. Hold the front page. A Leicester player has smashed the record.
Good evening and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It is Monday night, 7 o'clock, which means, of course, it's time for the fans call-in show. Today, I'm joined by my good friend Doc. Quack, quack. How's it going, mate?
Doing good. You know, the weather is nice still in Denmark. It's not as hot anymore. But yeah, Leicester won a massive football game. Copenhagen won the derby of the city yesterday against their fierce rivals 3-0. So both of my two teams performing for once. You know, mainly this year I've been coping with the fact that Copenhagen are challenging still for the Danish title. It's really, really nice just to see Leicester winning and keeping a clean sheet, regardless of it being against Southampton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 3 points, clean sheet, 2 goals, a Jamie Vardy 199th goal. Absolutely, yeah, incredible. Right. If you are new around here on a Monday night, this is how it all works, of course. Most of you will know. So the call-in show, basically there is a link in the description of the video. It is also pinned in the live chat. It's on Twitter as well. Plenty of places you can find it. Click the link and you'll come into the studio and you can come and have your say about literally anything you want. You can talk about the weekend's game. You can talk about next weekend's game, which is the big one against Forest. Can we stop them getting Champions League somehow? If you want to talk about Doc's haircut, if you want to talk about Copenhagen, whatever you want, you can come and talk about that.
Lives with England U16 members or whatever it is, you and I had to scour through the internet off yesterday, right, to get the latest update on the wonder kids of the academy. So, I mean, plenty of things going on. I think in particular, the discourse around Ruud after just one game has been interesting.
Oh my God.
I think maybe some are viewing it with a bit too rose in the glasses, but I think there is some logical arguments for small pluses for why Ruud could potentially be in charge next season.
Yeah, it's absolutely, yeah. I find it crazy, by the way, that we win one game and there are debates being had on social media about whether Will Alves, what am I talking about? Whether Ruud van Nistelrooy should stay next season. It's crazy. And there's I saw a poll earlier. 38% of people said yes. I'm like, what? Of course, this is a discussion, of course, but that's not what the question is asked, right? It's not said we're going to breach PSR. If we sack him, shall we do it? The question is, should he be here next season? And many people are saying yes. Anyway, let's get into it. Just before we get our first caller on, let's have a look who's here in the chat. Stefan Ortega's here, Doc.
Yeah, the real Stefan Ortega. Yeah.
I was going to say, even into Fossub, David Chapman, hello to you, mate. The Counsellor, hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Steve Dodsley, hope you're good, mate. Evening to Ryan. Plenty of comments. I'm going to star a couple as well because I've seen a couple I want to bring up later in the show. Our first caller is going to be Mark. So let's get him in. There we go. Right, let's get Mark in. Here he is. Hello, Mark. What's going on, mate?
Hey, boys. How's it going?
Hey, Mark.
You got to win.
Mate. Yeah. It's, you joined on possibly the worst time last time around when everything was just so gloom and doom. And now, I mean, there are still cloudy skies above the King Power Stadium, right? But for once, a little bit of sunshine slipped through. A clean sheet, 2 goals, and, can't ask for much more.
Beggars can't be choosers, Doc, at this point, right?
Exactly.
We'll take it. I mean, Southampton were terrible, weren't they? I mean, they made us look reasonably half capable, but yeah, I mean, it was a pretty turgid game. But Vardy 199, blowing the ref's whistle. What a legend.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Mark, but for me, it shows the gap because we've been talking about the gap in quality between the Championship and the Premier League. We've been speaking about that all season, but it was proof yesterday that we were much better than Southampton and we won the game.
Yes,
and so that shows that next season I mean, I like to be doom and gloom sometimes, after the results that we've had up until this weekend, but it shows that we're probably going to have enough to just come straight back up next season.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think within the Championship itself, you've got almost like 3 tiers, if you like, divisions. You've got the top 6, 7. And that's what I was saying last week. I think, I know there's understandably a lot of doom and gloom, but I think with the squad we have, if we can shift some of that deadwood, which again, it's a big if, given some of the wages and, with the youth, some of the loans we're getting back, Nelson, Alves. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. Still, we should have more than enough to get that top 6. You don't want to say by saying that, but really, if you look at what we have compared to what's in there, I can't see any of the current Championship, 6 and below going out and spending or improving their squad vastly.
Yeah. I mean, Doc, I know we touched on it at the very start, so let's get into it, and then we'll get Mark's opinion as well in a minute. But the Ruud van Nistelrooy chat, I'm convinced it's because we've won a game, and people are just like, well, we can, we're all good. He should stay. He's a good manager.
I think maybe we are just starting to be a bit more fair on him, right? We have been very harsh, and I think
fair.
Let me finish this, Lux. I think the fact is, he's quite clearly not done a good job. He's fallen out with some players, especially some of the higher earners and supposed to be leaders. And I think personally, he's been speaking a bit too much waffle that, sounds really good. All this PR talk that if he just backed that up, I would like him 10 times more. He's talking so much about the youth, but doesn't have the balls to start Jeremy Monk in that game like last week. Like all of those things. But at the same time, the board has mistreated him. I mean, he's coming in, first of all, with the squad that just isn't good enough, with the promise of getting, recruitments in January. He gets a backup right back for 3 million quid from Parma. And now I feel kind of bad for the fact that he's quite clearly looking for certainty over his job. And he knows just as much as we do about what's happening next season. So I think, some of this is definitely on him. He's not gotten the best start of the squad. But as I said before the game started last week as well, before we even start the stream, some of the fundamental ideas about the football he wants to play, I do genuinely like. So I think he just hasn't been able to fulfill it. I think some of that is down to him not being a good enough manager for the Premier League yet. And the rest is the board not trying to set him up for success as well, if that makes sense.
Mark, you talk to me, mate, about, because for me, the question should be, because the squad's crap, as we know. He's been dealt a bad hand by the board. We know all of this. So the question I think should be, has he got the best out of the shit squad?
Yeah, that's what I was
and
just
for me, it's absolutely clear-cut no, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see it from both sides, right? I hear what Doug's saying. Has he been given a fair hand? He talks about him and the board on the early discussions they had. They were apparently aligned, right, with what was needed. Clear as day, January came and went. They weren't aligned clearly at that point because he knew what he was saying. We needed additions. That didn't come to fruition, right? And then, but then I look at the fact that I don't remember how many defeats it was, but it was, what was it, 16, 17 defeats in so many games. In what world in recent years would any manager's position be? It's just untenable at that position.
Yeah,
at that point,
I agree.
Right?
Principally, yeah.
In any normal circumstance, he would be long gone. So, and that's the thing. We just don't know why he isn't. Is it because of PSR? Is it because we can't afford to sack him? Does he have something in his contract?
It's got to be PSR. It's got to be PSR.
Right? Yeah. So
I want to know this, I mean, from you, Mark, I think in terms of, because so many comparisons are about, between Cooper and Ruud. And in like, which manager did you prefer in terms of who did you think got the squad to look the best and got the most out of them if we're taking away just the points, Telly? I'm very interested in knowing that.
I mean, there's a loaded question. You have to say Cooper, I guess, because at least he was getting his. You still looked at his team and thought, okay, what is the plan here? What are we trying to do? But we had some more attacking threat. I felt, we scored goals, but so that was the point I was going to make. You've got to question Ruud. It's not like he's had 10 games to try and get the best, know his best 11. I mean, granted, do we have a best 11? But you know what I'm saying. With the form some of the players have shown. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sit on the fence, but I mean, it's what do you? It's
what I will say, Doc.
Go on.
What I will say is if a manager who was sacked after 12 games makes you look shit. So what I'm trying to say is Ruud made Cooper look great. Ruud now,
I don't think he did, though. I heavily disagree with that statement.
But look at the points.
Okay, go back and compare the 2 Southampton games we played against Southampton. Which one did we play the best? This one. I mean, did both teams have different managers? For sure. If I look back and say, which game was I most impressed with the football we played this season? Well, it has to be the Man City at home game. I thought we played well that game and should have walked away with a victory. Was that under Ruud or under Cooper? It was under Ruud. No, undoubtedly, Cooper got more points. That's the facts. Did I feel like those points were earned or lucky? Did I breathe a sigh of relief when we scored a 96th-minute winner or a 94th-minute equalizer against Ipswich and Southampton? Absolutely. Cooper was more fun to watch going forward as we were more open, but it was like we were picked apart by Southampton in that first half when we were down 2-0. I'm not sitting here defending Ruud saying I think we should stick with him because I don't necessarily think that. For me, though, it comes more to the fact that let's look at the options we have available to us. And there are some universes in which I would prefer sticking with Ruud rather than getting the potential new manager. And I think there are definitely better managers out there that I hope we can get. But, give me a real candidate choice against Ruud, and then I can make my opinion up on if I want to stick with Ruud or if I want to go with the other choice we have.
Mark, for me, the numbers, take out the game just gone, of course, because we know we played really well, right? But we scored more goals per game under Cooper. I think the XG was higher under Cooper. We never got battered 4-0 under Cooper, and we got battered 4-0 3 times, I think, under Ruud, and 3-0 about 4 times. And so I don't know, Mark, talk to me. Like I know you said that you can see both sides of it, but I personally, I'm convinced this is reactionary.
It's hard, right? Because I know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? I mean, at the time, I was one of the probably 99.9%. Everyone wanted Cooper out, right? Of course, grass is always greener, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't think we would have stayed up even if we had Cooper.
For sure,
no chance. But I think with Van Nistelrooy,
we'd have been closer, though, right? We'd have been closer.
Maybe, yeah. We would have. I think we would have scraped more points, the odd draw, and which again, looking at the table now, it wouldn't have made a difference, I don't think. But I don't know. I just think the owners perhaps think, if there's a financial implication, which there's obviously going to be if they sack him, they're perhaps thinking and looking at the standard of the Championship, thinking, look, we can get another season out of him. He's certainly going to get us challenging, because I think whoever we have as manager next year with what we're going to have in the squad, it'd be a disaster if they didn't, and that's not me being blasé. I think, if we didn't challenge for the top 6 with what we're going to have, I think any manager worth of salt should be able to have us up there next season.
Yeah. I mean, look at the big managers right now in the Championship, right? Daniel Farke and Scott Parker getting their side promoted with 100 points. So any somewhat capable manager should, with what we likely will have, at the very least, challenge for top 3 automatic, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Thinking we'll stick with him, and I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think I'm excited to hear about the realistic candidates. I think someone like Danny Rowe from Wednesday would excite me. I've been talking a bit about Cifuentes as well, but I want to see the realistic options, right? Like, where do the links really get serious? And then I think people will be able to make up their minds.
I was going to say, just final question for you, Mark. If Ruud is sacked, who is your number one choice to take over?
I mean, I kind of like the way Manny thinks in terms of, you know, the normal run-of-the-mill managers. You know, yeah, Roll has some substance to it. I get that. I think for what he's had to work with it at Wednesdays, you know, could be a good shout. But again, I don't know. But more of an up-and-coming younger manager, front-footed, high press. Well, Ruud said, you know, he wanted a high press, but apparently we don't have the fit enough players to do that. But
crazy.
It's going to be interesting. I've got a feeling he's going to still be here next season, boys.
Well, I think the worry is that they can't sack him until the 30th of June when the accounting period ends. And at that point, is it too late to sack him? You know what I mean? Is it too late at that point with preseason, like literally?
Yeah, you're a month into the transfer window, aren't you then?
Exactly. Mark, hopefully next time you call, we've got a bit of news. Maybe we know a bit more if he's staying, if he's going. Hopefully he's gone by then. But yeah, yeah, that ain't happening.
I know I'm being silly.
Yeah. Cheers, Mark. Thanks for Mark. Cheers, Mark. The comment Mark made, by the way, about that comment that Ruud has made this week in his press conference, saying that the players aren't fit enough, and I'm like, you've been here 5 months. It's your job. You know, it's what you do on the training pitch. If you know, you can get the players fit. You know, you see it all the time. Managers coming into clubs where the players maybe aren't fit enough, and you get them fitter, and it's very frustrating. It's just another excuse, Doc.
I mean, he's thrown out many excuses, and I think, you know, he has to take some responsibility for how poor he's been. But I simply don't think we can put 100% of the blame for why he's been so poor on him. Players have underperformed. As Herman's hasn't found the same form because he was still playing with that, whatever it was that now forced him to have surgery, right? He hasn't been to the same level. Someone like, you know, at the start of the season, someone like Jamie Vardy seemed to have a golden touch, scoring every chance he got. For a long period, he couldn't score anything, right? Couldn't score anything.
Do you think he deserves the sack? Do you think he deserves the sack?
I don't think. Look at the games, man. I mean, with that losses, he can't complain if he gets sacked. That's why I wholeheartedly, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets sacked. And I think I would be open for that as well.
Yeah.
It simply depends on who would get in, because, you know, I think as well, I would be open if the candidates are poor out there and no one is really interested, to give him the chance to actually build his squad. And this is a side note as well. If he stays in the Rob 10 article, it was likely that Yannick Vestergaard and someone like Winks as well, some of those heavy earners would leave since he's fallen out with them. And I mean, that would be a very nice positive of keeping him, right? Getting those high earners off the books.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Up next, I don't know what the hell he's wearing on his head. Anyway, we'll get him in. It's going to be Ross. Is that a Jamaican? What is that?
It's a Jamaican me crazy hat. No.
Yeah, we love a bit of a cultural appropriation on this channel, mate. Wow.
Yeah, but blue tinted glasses, Rasta man. Right.
That's enough. That's enough.
Okay.
That's enough.
No, I went to a party on Friday and it was like a Jamaican themed. So, yes, hats on. Well, not only did we keep a clean sheet, which, by the way, this is how many days was the last time we had a clean sheet. Hang on.
It was since
210 days. That's 6 months and 29 days since we last had a clean sheet before 2 days ago.
Yeah. And remember how lucky we were to keep the clean sheet against Bournemouth.
Doesn't matter. We kept a clean sheet. Doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true.
Did you see my tweet, Ross, as well? So between home goals, it was 210,240 minutes from the 8th of December at 8:15 to May the 3rd at 3:15.
And that's how many days since the last time we scored at home before the other day? 146 days.
Outside of the one game where we just had 6 goals against QPR that meant nothing at all.
Premier League.
Yeah, Premier League goals, exactly.
Against Marty Cifuentes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
against Martin Cifuentes and a very poor QPR side. And now, Roster, now just quickly, I want to showcase
Yep.
this since you're wearing that beautiful Jamaican thing. I've never shown this on broadcast before, but I own some beautifully red and white.
Oh, wow.
glasses.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Oh no! Oh.
So hang on, we've got where are your glasses, Locks? Come
Yeah,
on.
where are your glasses, mate? You're absolutely lost on this.
If not, I've got some right here. There we go.
Mine's missing an arm, but yeah,
This is a horrendous lineup for Britain's Got Talent. We've got a Danish.
I'm confused because I think you would have thought that Doc, from what's been coming out of his mouth for the last 6 months, you'd be thinking he's been wearing it for 6 months.
I mean, I have this as well. This is the red and white in the.
Oh, look at
that. Everything on top of it.
Hey, they've spelt Denmark wrong on that, mate.
No, they spelled that. Yeah. So
no, where's
Denmark.
Denmark. Come to Denmark.
Right, fair enough.
They don't even know. They don't even know how to spell their own country. It's crazy.
Oh, you're such
Exactly.
a joke, mate.
No, I mean,
whole country.
do you know what? Obviously, the fact that you still want Rude in is just wow.
Let me make it clear, Ross. I do not want Rude in.
Oh, okay.
But there are candidates where I would prefer to keep Rude. If that makes sense. There are some managers who I don't think would make an improvement.
To be
I'd rather
honest,
just stick with Rude.
well, look at last season, right? So Dean Smith came in. Let's be honest, doesn't matter who we had last season. Sorry, 2 years ago. Sorry, nobody was keeping that team up. Let's be honest, right? So I don't blame Dean Smith at all. And then we were all thinking, oh, who's going to come in? And then it ended up being a manager, someone that was a assistant manager to Pep Guardiola, Enzo Maresca. Nobody knew it. Let's be honest, no Leicester fan knew who he was. If someone says they are, they're lying to you, right? And
well, they'd heard of him. They'd heard of him.
Yeah, but not like saying, "Oh, yeah, he's great." I'm thinking, you don't know nothing about him. And he came in, structured the club, got us back to obviously to the promised land, which was the year ago today, by the way, was the parade. Which was awesome. And then so knowing Leicester, it'll be somebody that we've never either heard of or they haven't got much experience, meaning like as a manager, means like an Enzo Maresca, like an assistant, on that one as well. I mean, I just honestly, I'm still baffled that Rude's here, PSR or not. I'm sorry, but
can I ask you, Ross, to this as well? Would you want that? Would you want Leicester to go the same route they did last time around with Enzo? Because personally, I'd like that because I remember him being appointed, right? It gave some bubbling excitement within you because you didn't know exactly what you were getting, but it was exciting. It was modern football and it was this new, fresh breath of air. And I mean, that would be really good after such a tough relegation, wouldn't it?
I preferred, right? A lot of people disagree, whatever. I prefer Enzo Ball, 100%. Whether people listen, whether people agree with me or not, if they think that was boring, they clearly never saw the Nigel Pearson days, the Martin O'Neill days.
I loved Enzo Ball, mate.
Them type of days. Honestly, I loved it because the fact that it was take out the last part of the season where we did struggle a little bit. It was different. It was, we weren't playing that zonal stupid marking that we had under Brendan because Brendan overstayed his welcome. Let's be honest. Great manager for us, but I thought he should have left, I would say, after we didn't get Europe, in my opinion. But who would I want if Rude went? I would love to, Danny Roll. I mean, the fact that when he took on Sheffield Wednesday, they didn't win a game. I think they lost. They were 2-1, lost 13. Yeah, they were completely.
They were shocking.
They were completely rock bottom, and he came in, and their first game was against Rotherham, but obviously Rotherham were worse than them. And funny, their revolution in a way started against Leicester at Hillsborough, because we never win at Hillsborough. Doesn't matter how good we are, we never win there. And obviously kept them up, because despite obviously the loony of Chansiri, I mean, let's be honest, if you think our owners have not been great or anything, you should see what that loony's doing.
Yeah, you didn't pay them in March, right?
Not just that. They're asking fans to give like £100 and stuff towards getting people out of debt. This was a while back. So Danny Roll, I mean, if he does come to the club, I think he's German, if I'm not mistaken. The first German to be Leicester City manager, if that does become the case. But no, I mean, obviously the farewell tour, obviously the dates have been crossed off. Next got Nottingham Forest is the next one.
3 more to go.
3 more to go. And like I say, if he does not play against Bournemouth, if he doesn't, he will end his career the same day he signed, 18th of May 2012. I said this on the Leaving Show what you did, 18th of May 2012, Duck. That Vardy signed for Leicester. If he does play his last game against Ipswich, it'll be the 13 years to the day and leaving as well. That is crazy. Madness. All right.
That's gonna be it's gonna be a crazy day though, I think, because obviously it will be the last home game. It will be the last game he plays at the King Power for Leicester. You never know, we might face him again. Yeah, you're crossing off the dates like the John Cena farewell tour, aren't you? Like he's been doing.
But you know what though? If he's gonna score one more goal out of them three, I would 100% pick Nottingham Forest. I'm there on Sunday, right? 1-1, and it'll be 91st minute. We get a penalty, and he actually scores it this time. And he bangs that 200th goal, celebrates in front of Forest fans. Yes, we might be down, but if that means that Nottingham Forest do not get European football, not European football, Champions League, I'm all for it. Because you know when people said, "Oh, Forest are going to do a Leicester," they forgot to mention it was the 1920 season when we kind of screwed it up. So
one of the 2 seasons we just bottled that Champions League. I still have nightmares from the season after where we bottled it to Tottenham on the final day.
But if someone said to me, "Would you rather get Champions League or win the FA Cup?" I'd take win the FA Cup any day of the week.
Why wouldn't Vardy play in the Bournemouth game?
I don't know. I'm just saying if he does, I reckon it'd be poetic justice if he ends his career on that day with Leicester on the same day that he signed for us.
Well, there we go. Look, JV will score his 200.
Well, obviously, I know final whistle's waiting in the wings. Good old Detective Inspector Whistle, the eye whistle. I've decided to call him now. He's amazing. He's got good stats and good facts and stuff. So I'll let you get on to Mr. Whistle. Because I'm going to go and. Do you think it's better with the hat or without the hat?
Without the hat. Without the hat. Yeah. Go and have some jerk chicken. Well, I think that's Jamaican.
Yeah,
I have no idea what they eat there.
I thought you knew, Doc. All right, no worries. Jerk chicken, right? I might go and get some.
Yeah, do it, mate. Do it.
I will. So,
all right, Ross, mate. Nice one. See you soon, Ross.
Yeah,
mate.
lads.
Jamaican me crazy. All right, cheers. Thank you very much, Ross.
Crazy.
Trees not won a thing in 35 years. Yeah, absolutely. Forest to bottle Champions League against us. That would be
man,
lovely.
that game actually. I mean, we have some fun games coming up, right? We're trying to prove we're not the worst of the promoted teams when we're playing Ipswich, and then of course against Forest away. Imagine if in Leicester's worst ever season we end up being one of the key reasons why they don't get Champions League, and the abundance of money that gets you, especially when you're an English club, man. That market share or something you showed me, Lux, unbelievable amount of millions.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is why it was so important for us to, if we'd qualified for Champions League one of those 2 years, we may never have got onto the PSR issues that we found ourselves
if
with.
We didn't bottle it to fucking Tottenham, man, on the final day.
Well, it was United the first year, wasn't it? And then to
yeah,
Chelsea.
I vividly remember I didn't watch the United game back then. I didn't watch all games back then in the day. I just watched them when I could. But I remember. Go on. Has something just dropped?
The Foxes set the price of the release clause for Bilal El Khanous, 26 million euros.
Oh, fuck off, mate. Surely that can't be real. But it's from a very reliable journalist in Sasha Tavolieri. That is nothing, man.
26 million euros. Really? How much did we spend on him? 20 million pounds? What is 26 euros in pounds? 22 million pounds. That's piss poor, man. That's going to be picked up. That's going to sound
nothing.
Oh man. Well, there you go. There's the Doctor of Rudkinomics. Once again. Bilal, just in case anybody missed that, he is a reliable journalist, right, Doc?
Yeah, certainly he's reliable.
Sasha,
he's not always correct. I've seen him make mistakes before, but he's someone that when he's saying something, there's likely, at the very least, something about it, right?
Yeah. So 20 million, 22 million euros. That is absolutely
22 million
piss poor.
pounds. You've been
22 million pounds.
Let's hope that's not exactly true, and he's 5-10 millions off in the other in the right direction for us. So it's more 36 or something, because that feels incredibly cheap alongside the rumored price of Hermansen for 25 million euros. I think we're losing 20 million pounds at the minimum. I thought we would be able to get for those two players, which, I mean, Susan Wheeler knows how much we need that revenue, so hopefully she doesn't allow Rotkin to go through with it if he gets offers for that price, because that will be broad daylight robbery to let those players go for so cheap.
That's right as well. He was actually the one who broke the Bilal news to Leicester.
He is reliable, but there are very few journalists who are always 100% correct, right? And I think, in particular, Leicester have been very confusing with their transfer fees. We don't let that slip out very much. It's very rare. It is always a reported fee. We never really open up about how much we buy or sell for, except for in the accounts where it's all grouped together, right? So let's hope it's somewhere within the area, but more to our favor with at the very least 5 million euros, in my opinion.
Well, let's hope. Right. Anyway, with that news, let's move on to the next caller.
Horrible news.
Up next is it's Jack. It's from the final whistle. Jack, mate, talk to us. What do you make to that news, mate? That we've just said.
Jesus Christ! It shows the club can't run its bloody course, can it? It seems like mismanagement after mismanagement. With players being paid over wages and everything like that, and then they can't sort of reasonable sort of fee out with his contract clause and that, and. Yeah, it's just one thing after another. I thought we was going to be feeling a bit of positivity tonight after beating Southampton, but yeah, that kind of breaks the ice, doesn't it, a bit? And it stings.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it would hurt seeing Bilal go, but we all kind of know it feels a bit inevitable with how he's playing. But for that fee, that's really the big issue for me. I think if that really is true and someone will get him for that price, they'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, 100%. I was just double checking how much we actually did sign him for.
It was 20, right? We're just getting our money back.
I'm just looking here. So I think it was 20 million euros. So it was about 18.5 million pounds. So we're making about 4 million on him. So. But then I don't know. It's a bit crazy. Anyway, let's just have a look at what a couple of people are saying. If that's true, he must be fired. How much did you think we'd get? Well, if he didn't have a release clause, you'd be looking at more, 30,
minimum
35.
minimum 30 in my book. I mean, it kind of shows how bad the state of the club is, though. If at the very least you're relieved that it's not less than what we signed him for, right? We didn't do our lease with Rodrigo where they had to sell him for 3 million euros. That kind of tells about the state of the club. By the way, Jack, getting back to the real topic and you as well. Good for you for losing your weight, mate. You look absolutely fantastic with you. It really does suit you, man. I saw your tweet as well. It absolutely brilliant, man. It's good to see.
Thanks.
I'm happy for you, man. I'm very happy. It's good to see. I saw you as well in the. I had to take a look at some of the Southampton fan blogs, and I did see you in, I think, Martin's one. I wanted to see how miserable they felt for once, to see the fact that, again, over these past few years, I've always been, we might be bad, but at least we're not Southampton, and that continues to be true.
Well, you've got it right, haven't you? Leicester might be bad this season, but they are terrible. I'm sorry, they made us look like prime Barcelona.
Sadly, yes.
Manny says here, after agents' fees and salary, just breaking even, and we had him for a year. So we're basically breaking even, but that's people. Some people will be like, "Oh, that's fine," but for me, it's not fine, because you've signed a young, exciting, promising talent from Europe, and yes, we're getting relegated, but to just only break even and make no profit. And to be honest, let's be honest, guys, Jack, knowing Rodkin, there's probably a bloody sell-on clause where we have to give Genk about 5 million of that, knowing Rodkinomics.
Yeah, it always seems to be that case, doesn't it, with Rodkin? The guy's not a director of football. He's not, and is in the wrong job, in my opinion. You know, he is an academy director or whatever he was before. Fine, whatever, keep him at doing that. But bring a proper football advisor in who knows these type of things, how to negotiate properly and stuff like that. And this is what lets us down. We've let somebody who's not got the experience or the skills to go and do what he's being asked to do. And this is where he's struggling to do it. And this is why we've got so mismanagement, because Top's trusting him with these type of things and he's failing at every hurdle.
Yeah. Well, you said maybe he needs to be in a better role. Sorry, a different role. Cleaner? Could he clean the toilets? Clean the stadium?
Well, I'd probably say put him on one of Top's horses, isn't it? You know, and ain't be a jockey. You know, he might fall off. You know what I mean? You know, they say he's always seems to fall off at an hurdle. You know, probably when the horse goes over the bush, he'd be off the horse.
Yeah. It's just really, I don't know, Doc. It's just very,
I mean,
expected. We were speaking about it the other night. We were talking about on Fox's Den last week, going through the different market valuations of all of these. And I said, people in the chat were saying, "Oh no, we wouldn't have done a release clause for less than we got them for." But
you're kind of relieved that at the very least we didn't do that. I think. I mean, if it's the only reason he wanted to come, El Khanouch, was that he knew he would likely be able to leave. I mean, if we at the very least get some profit, right? I guess it's okay if it wasn't his condition of joining. But he seems like someone who's really taken well to the club. He seems to like the area, like the fans, and I was, deep down hoping that he would be able to just stay one or two more seasons with us, right? Bring us back up and then help us stay in the Premier League before we would then sell him for a big clause. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it develops. But I mean, we all know that price tag. I mean, it does look very juicy for any club who's got eyes, and his talent is undoubtedly clear.
Even promoted clubs, even newly promoted, anybody in the
who goes to
League
Leeds,
come and pay that.
Ooh.
They needed number 10. I'll tell you now, Leeds need a number 10. So, you know what I mean? It's very. Yeah, and anyone could pick him up for that price. I don't think we've got a cat in hell's chance, Jack, that he's going to stay on for the Championship, mate.
Do you know what? He's a great player, great talent. He's got everything you want in a player, the take-ons, the desire, the passion and everything like that. I'd love him to stay in the Championship. I think he'd tear it up, do you get what I mean? But, he's a great player who's going to go on to good things. I've loved him this season, watching him in general. I think he's been player of the season for me in general. He tries hard, he does his best. And like I say, there's a real player there, He's someone that the big clubs are going to be looking at very quite fondly, thinking, what, we can develop him even more here. And it's a shame that we could lose him in the summer for obviously the reported release clause and that. And a player like that, you've got to make some profit on him, haven't you? It's not £4 million just doesn't cut it. You want a bit more than that. It's like being on Dickinson's real deal with this deal, isn't it?
Maybe to try and bring some in esports we call it hopium, right? Maybe a bit of blind optimism here.
Yeah.
At the very least, opening up space for number 10. Jeremy Munger said yesterday his preferred position is the number 10. We have Michael Golding as well, who we spent $5 million on from Chelsea, who's also a number 10. So, we have some number 10s who might be able to try and get some game time. Obviously, I'd love to keep Bilal, right? But if Jeremy Munger could get to move into his favorite position, I think if he is not even strongest on the wing, and that's what he's shown us so far on the right wing, I'd be open to seeing him in the number 10 alongside Michael Golding.
Yeah. I mean, they'll pay Arsenal and other teams do what? Yeah, £22 million is the snip, because that even if he doesn't set the league alight, they will make a profit on him because he's 20 years old. You know what I mean? He's got a big future ahead of him, and they'll be able to make some profit on him, which is what we should have been able to do. We should have been able to make some profit, but why are we advertising the price? We don't have to sell him unless he wants to leave. We'll sell Mad. The journalist has said that the release clause is 20 million pounds, whatever we said it was, 22 million pounds. So the journalist is the guy who kind of broke the story about him joining us. So he's clearly got links to Bilal's.
Yeah, he's someone who's in the know around the Belgian scene, right? he's someone who's got the knowledge from there. I mean, there's a very reliable Danish journalist as well who knows everything that goes on with the Danish player. So he seems like that kind of version of for what's going on in the Belgian league at the very least. So we'll see what happens. Again, if he wants to leave, if we have to sell, it's at the very least clear though that the price that has been set is not unrealistic for the big clubs to reach. It's very realistic. And for them, I think many clubs would say, even if he's not going to be starting every game, it's an easy buy. Even if you only use him for half the games and then loan him out for a few seasons and sell him for 30 million, well, you've made a profit. I mean, so yeah, let's see what happens, but it's definitely looking like he's going to leave with that price.
If he's going to go, sell him now, and maybe then we can afford to sack Ruud van Nistelrooy. Hey, maybe we do that. Maybe we do that. Get rid of him now, and then yeah. Oh, apparently there's 15% clause as well that we owe to Genk, wherever he's from. Yeah. So we're going to make a loss. We're going to make a loss. We're going to make a loss on it. Probably. We're going to make a loss.
We're probably just going to go even.
Yeah, but then you take off his wages, right? Then you if you start reducing wages,
but then you have to look at what he contributed throughout the Premier League season. I mean,
a relegation, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to look at that negatively, I guess you're completely correct. But you are a bit of a pessimist, Lux. So I do agree that
there's no pessimist in it, mate. Like if he'd kept us up, then yeah, but he hasn't. You know what I mean? So we're gonna, you know what I mean? Right, Jack. I'm gonna let you go, mate. Last question, quickly.
Go on.
You want Ruud gone, but who would you bring in? Who would you bring in? Who's your number one choice?
Jesus. You think I'd trust the club with that as well?
I'm trusting you with it. I'm trusting you.
You trusting me? I think I'd make a better job of it. I don't know. I'm going to have to put my bloody football manager skills into place like Will Steele did. It's got to be someone who's exciting. It's got to be some along the lines of the way we want to play football, the way where we want to go next season. There's got to be a plan and identity, something that we've been missing this season because we don't know what hell's going on. But Danny Roll is someone that I like. I think he's got Sheffield Wednesday out of a right mess. They were bang on for relegation when he took over there. I like Sean Dyche. He's a real Nigel Pearson character who'd give them players a right kick up the arse. But yeah, it could be probably not even the names mentioned. It could be another how they appointed Enzo Maresca, someone people never heard of, and you sort of go with that sort of effect. But the club have got to have a plan going forward. But you trust in the same people who got us relegated in 22-23. So yeah, I'm hoping this goes well this time round, even though they probably don't deserve to make these decisions again.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Cheers, Jack, mate. Thanks for joining. We'll see you soon, Jack. Big shout out to the final whistle. Go and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Right up next on our list, I think I can see him moving about in his chair, so it's probably him. It is. It's Ethan. So let's get him in. Just quickly, if several clubs were interested, would that up the sale price? No. Release fee. That's it. It's whoever pays him the most wages, he'll go to, I'm sure, or the most exciting project, whatever. It's like what's happening with Liam Delap now, right? He's got a 30 million relegation release clause, and there's clubs trying to.
And again, they make a nice 10 million on that, right? If we had the same, I would be okay with it, because if that what was required to attract him to bolster our prospect of staying up, which I mean he single-handedly held a lot of the burden on his shoulders for a few months as a 20-year-old. I mean, I would have been fine with it, but only like a few million, and then the sell-on clause as well would break even. And that's not really exciting, is it? Losing your best prospect for that.
Let's just hope they put a £500,000 release clause in Victor Christensen's contract.
You're such a prick, man.
I'm joking.
I hope he does go though. I want him away from you, like you little bastard.
Get those glasses on. Yeah. There we go. Monger in the 10. Somebody said, yeah. We might get onto that if anybody wants to talk about it. Anyway, right.
I want to talk about TikTok lives.
Yeah. That was a strange experience last night at 12 a.m. watching some. Yeah. Anyway,
it's like I know sounds wrong when you say it like that.
I was going to say something. Yeah, I was going to say something questionable there. What's going on, Ethan? Mate, how you doing today?
How's it, guys? I'm doing all right. I think. Let's lighten up the mood. The title of the video is "Who We Won." So
yeah, true.
I'm very happy that first of all for Jakob,
Too much positivity.
Get him back in.
Go on. Jakob, talk to us on Jakob.
No, honestly, like the saves that he had to make were really good. So I'm confident for him starting next season if Mads goes. There were some passes that he made where I was like, oh, a bit shaky, but he looked comfortable enough to make those passes. So I was really happy with Jakob, and for me, he was a standout in that game. I don't know how you guys felt about him.
Go on, Duck.
I mean, I don't think he had too many saves to make, but I think he played well. I mean, he looked confident. He does have some Premier League experience now, of course. And for the disallowed goal, his first save was, brilliant. And then obviously the rebound was offside, so it didn't count. So, I mean, the few times he worked required, he did everything we needed him to. And there is something about goalkeepers where it's not just the saves they make. It's, I don't want to say the aura, but the aura they bring to the defense, right? Do you feel confident as a viewer when they go out to try and collect the cross or punch the ball away from a corner? Or do you get nervous because they don't really have command of the area? And I think Jakob really has that command, and he has that calmness to him that I'm not nervous when a cross comes in because he will be indecisive about what to do. He feels very, confident in himself, and that leads to those good performances.
Yeah. I mean, Ethan, I agree, by the way, Jakob. I think he's done really well when he has played last season, when he filled in for a little bit, this season as well, when Ruud finally, realised that he should be playing Jakob over Danny fucking Ward. And we're going to need a new goalkeeper as well anyway, aren't we, Ethan? Because Everson's now on his way out. Obviously, Ward's going. So it's just going to be Jakob. So we need a backup to him. Or maybe Ruud or the next manager, whoever it is, if there's a new manager, maybe they don't think Jakob's up to the job, and maybe they want to get their own keeper in.
Nah, I think the goalkeeper situation is more of a in-house. I think if you're looking at the PSR and stuff like that, you're not really gonna prioritize a backup goalkeeper. But then again,
I think we like to pick someone on free just to fill out the numbers, right? Like someone like Alex Smithies back in the day, where it was very clear he was there to run around in training and be a good mood and help out with the drills. I agree then in terms of it's not the first position you're going to say, if I only have £10 million to spend, I'm going to buy a new goalkeeper. I don't think that's why you're looking, regardless of if it's Ruud or a new manager.
But yeah, no, I think Jakob will start most of the games next season. If not, I think there's more than capable goalkeepers in the academy that can step up. I'm particularly keen about Stevie Borsa. He saved a penalty the time that we all remember, that one Jeremy Monga goal against West Ham, yeah? That one clip. So in the same game, I think Borsa saved Stevie Borsa.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's eligible to represent South Africa. So I'm being a little bit of a duck right now, and nepotism, but
it's nice to be biased.
But yeah, no, I think he's more than capable of stepping up as a deputy. Maybe he can play like the cup competitions or the bottom 3 championship clubs. But yeah, I think next season the youth really are gonna pull us through.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment here that said our best players leaving left with the dead wood, because we've been talking constantly about we need to get rid of the dead wood. This is natural though, isn't it, Doc? Because we're going to hear first of all about the big names. We heard there's an unreliable article on, I think it's the Sun, talking about how Mads Hermansen is linked with a £25 million deal to Brentford, the home of the Danes.
I will say, just quickly on the price, though, I think that is more reasonable than the Bilal one, right? Because Hermansen's a bit older. Goalkeepers don't tend to go for as much. Plus, we bought him for €5 million. So you would make good profit still, despite Brøndby taking a bit. I think, at the very least, still €5 million more to the price. I would like 30 at the least. But I don't think 25 is as egregious as the current now release clause for the boy Bilal.
No, I
25 million. What do you reckon, Ethan?
If we're not forced to sell, if we're sort of holding him a bit of a prisoner, then we can wait for more offers. Maybe a Chelsea or someone can come in later into the window and bump that price up. But yeah, I think 25. I'd also have 30 million You know, for the saves that he made in the Premier League, he can easily be like a 40-50 million pound player. So I'd want at least 30. But yeah, at the moment you can't really be too greedy. The club needs all the money it can get. But yeah, it's disappointing to see him go. I'm sad that he's going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one, Duck, that we've been saying to each other for months, right? That yeah, he's definitely going to go because he's too good of a goalkeeper to play in the Championship, and he probably has played his last game for Leicester.
Yeah, I think he has. With the injury, right? Get him. He's now gonna have to look juicy for the summer transfer window. Get as much money for him as possible. And I think one of the reasons, I mean, I'm happy for the service he's done. I think he's done a brilliant job throughout his time here at the club, and he's really helped us get back up to the Champions League and helped us, have hope for the first half of the season. He was basically single-handedly the reason we had a bit of hope up until his injury at the Newcastle game. So yeah, I mean, thank him for all he's done. Thank him for the money he's bringing in, considering he was bought for so cheap. And then, a lovely welcome to Stolasic, right? He's our own academy lad. We know the level he has as well. And I'm very excited to see him take the number 1 glove. So it's, I'm more happy saying goodbye to Hermansen because I know we have such a good replacement in-house ready to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. Big up from South Africa, says Joshua. And I saw a comment as well from Anil. There we go. South African tinted glasses. Melier. Should we get Ilian Melier in? Fucking hell.
Melier, he's horrible. The most error prone. Like he should go on the Football Manager and you see the fact like hates big games, consistency red, and you just know you don't sign the player. I mean, he's made some good saves. For example, when we lost to them 1-0 at home, I thought the goal was in that one time with, I believe, Dewsbury Hall's header. But, I mean, he's just not consistent enough.
Yeah. Let's end on this, Ethan, right? We've been talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy. Is there any part of you that wants Ruud van Nistelrooy to stay? Because Doc over here, he thinks that it might be not the worst. I'm not going to try and put words in your mouth here, Doc. It might not be the worst of scenarios.
Yeah, there are scenarios where I would prefer him to stay rather than the candidate they could be bringing in.
I think Ruud's time is gone. I think he's shown during his time here that he doesn't know the team well. He doesn't know the players' best positions. I think you look at the times he was picking Vestergaard and Fast over Okoli, Thomas as a left centre back, Christensen, Justin on the right, not picking Warrior. So the list is quite long. I wouldn't be too fussed if he stays, but I'm leaning way out.
Yeah, I don't know who would be your choice now. I know it can change, but yeah, what are you thinking now?
So I got 2 options. One is the Chelsea under-21s. I think it's Felipe Coelho. So I've really liked the Portuguese managers coming through now. He was at Estoril, who finished above Sporting and Benfica's academies last season. So he's pretty good. He also plays like a 4-2-3-1. And then there's the current Estoril under-23s, who I think what's his name? Vitor Couto. Okay. That's the name you can get behind, Vitor Couto. And he's doing quite well as well. I think he has Estoril second. He also plays a 4-2-3-1. So yeah, for me it's all about the continuity, right? You want someone that's going to bring the same sort of ideas and build on top of that, and you don't want to start from scratch, especially with young players.
Doc, Russell Martin or Ruud van Nistelrooy next season?
I'd have a think about it. I would. I mean, I'm not the biggest Russell Martin enjoyer. Yeah, that depends. I'd have to think about it more. But that's one of the situations where I would be not sure what I'd rather want. I think, I mean, especially because if Russell Martin brought us back up, he wouldn't be able to keep us up. Whereas, one of the things where I think Ruud would definitely have done better this season if this was his squad. It still doesn't feel like that, but he's, not helped himself in many ways outside of the fact that, the board hasn't helped him either.
What about you, Ethan? Russell Martin or Ruud van Nistelrooy?
The thing is, I like how Martin talks, right? I think Russell Martin, the way that he speaks, especially about like academy prospects, especially, right? He's very thorough about bringing youth through. We saw that with Tyler Dibling, but I think he's just a bit too radical, right? I think he's a bit too gung ho. Van Nistelrooy, I think he doesn't really know what he wants to do. I think he still has time to mold if he stays. But it's between like shit and shit, right? You don't want either.
Yeah, I totally agree. I hate Russell Martin, but I think I'd rather him than Ruud van Nistelrooy next season. I genuinely, I think, yeah, Ruud's not done anything for me that warrants him getting the job. I think he'll be very, very lucky if he stays, and it will probably be just down to the finances. Ethan, mate, thanks as always for joining us, mate. Hopefully we'll see you again next week as well, mate. All right.
Thank you guys. Have a good.
Cheers, yeah, sorry, mate. Cheers, Ethan. Thanks for joining. Next time you're on, maybe Vardy will have his 200th goal. You've lost my respect because I don't want Ruud van Nistelrooy, or because I want Russell Martin over him. Yeah, honestly, I do. Yeah. Anyway, if I had to pick, I really don't want Russell, but I hate Ruud as well. So, let me just bring this comment up. Yeah, Rob Tanner suggests Ruud has been testing players now for what is to come next season. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, Rob said in the interview that he thought Ruud did want the job, and I didn't get that impression at all, Doc. I don't know about you.
I think we had all this talk about him walking when things started going sour initially. And I was always adamant that he wouldn't walk. And I think it's the same here, right? I mean, the loss on his character, and as Rob said, if he got sacked now after such a horrendous, year or split with the team, you can call it, right? Since he came in, the damage to his reputation would really be hurting, and he'd have to build himself up somewhere else. And I mean, in Leicester, I think maybe he does realize we have some decent talent, some good talents here. He knows we should be able to, if he believes in himself, and his talent ID, because the manager does have a lot of the say in the transfers, as we now know. I think he knows that he could build some reputation up to, look better at the very least. I think, whereas Enzo instantly went to Chelsea when we got promoted, Ruud wouldn't do the same because you saw his history in the Premier League, but he would, at the very least, be leading with proof that he can cut in the Championship and dominate that if that's what ended up happening. So, I mean, I think he knows his brand would be at the lowest if he left now.
Yeah, 100%. Right. There's 3 more callers. No other callers after that. So if you're about to call in next Monday instead, 3 more callers. And up next is Ryan, because I think Reese has dropped out. So Reese, oh wait, no, is he back? No, he's not back. We'll have Manny as well at the end. Sorry, Reese. If you're listening, mate, click in now and you can come on after Ryan. But if not, we'll see you next week, Reese. Ryan, what's going on, mate? How are you?
Hello, how things going? It's good to see a win finally at long last.
Yeah, it's been 4 months basically, right? January against the Spurs was the last one. That was end of January, but it's still ages since the last win.
Yeah, it's good to see. It was good to see a pretty decent showing from the lads. Even though it's come too little, too late now. But let's be clear and obvious. Let's not let this win paper over so many of the cracks, because we came up against an even worse team, I would say, more than us, and that's Southampton.
Sure. They were horrible.
My word. They were unbelievably bad. I mean, they just made life so easy for us, playing with the 5 at the back. What on earth was that about? And fair play to the lads for taking advantage.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Ryan, we've been talking a lot about the manager. One man who was spotted at the King Power Stadium on the weekend was Lee Carsley. Now, it could be for 2 reasons. Number one, maybe he's interested or has been asked about the job. Or the other option is it's just a part of the England youth setup because obviously he's. Still
I think that's more due to being part of the England under 21 setup, really, because I think it was to do with the fact that Tyler Dibling was playing, I think, and Harwood Bellis, I think. I think it's mainly because of that. I don't think it's because it was the interest of the Leicester job.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Doc? Because it is a name that's been linked a couple of times now when Cooper was sacked and now again.
I don't think he's coming.
I don't.
I hope not. England under 21s, that's his job, innit? So have we got any that you might have been looking at? Maybe no, I don't think there is any, is there? Is there any England under 21s in our team? Other than Monga, but he's too young.
Don't think there is, really.
Tyler Dibling, then, maybe. Yeah, maybe Tyler Dibling. Yeah. Are you surprised, Ryan, that there's some talk online and debate about whether Ruud should stay? Because
I'm a bit surprised on that, really, because I think most of us really do. I'd say pretty much know that Ruud's not going to be the manager next season. I know I get to an extent what Doug may be saying, but I just don't see it happening somehow in some case. But the only reason I think as to why Ruud is still here, I think is because of that PSR related issue. But it wouldn't have been the case had we, if we had any common decency about us, i.e. John Rooking, and this is why he's not qualified to be director of football at all, is put that stupid break clause on the contract that Ruud should have had when he was appointed, really. So I just find it ridiculous why there hasn't been a break clause inserted.
Well, maybe, Doc, he wouldn't have come unless there was a release clause. Sorry, he wouldn't have come if there was a release clause. So it was just a part of the negotiations that he didn't want it in there. Yeah, if that's the case, I would say, well, you clearly don't back yourself enough to not stay up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like, why would you want him then if you can't get rid of him, knowing you're financially strapped for cash, right? Then maybe, like, if you know you're going to have to, if you want to sack him, spend that much money, well, then why not go to corporate, who you'd have to pay a little bit to get out now, who, I personally wanted more, and I said that on this broadcast as well. I think we're just weird with how we spend our money, man. That's what annoys me. We know we are strapped for cash, fair enough. Not for cash, but allowed for what we're allowed to spend due to PSR, right? But then we spend 20 million on Skip, and then, I mean, we buy a promising youngster for 20, and then we at the very least make sure the break clause or the relegation release clause isn't at the very least 10 million profit, or like of course we're skinned when we don't know how the fuck money works, because it's laughable not to put a break clause in when we were already battling for relegation when he came in. It's disgusting, man.
Yeah, it is.
Just quickly, I can't tell if this comment is a joke or if he's being nice or if he's trying to be whatever. I mean, first of all, I don't think you'll win the European trophy, and secondly, what is that? What's he trying to do? A Tottenham fan, Doc.
Sure. The thing is, one of my very good friends from my hometown that I went to school with, he's a Tottenham fan. And it actually ended up my little sister, her boyfriend is now my friend's little brother, who's also a Tottenham fan. And I enjoy coming home, talking to them and telling them, when at the very least, I'm not a Tottenham fan. And I'm sitting here being relegated twice in 3 years because in their whole lifetime, they've never seen their club lift a trophy because they can't remember winning the Carabao Cup in 2008. And they could try and do the argument that, we've been in a Champions League final. And I can tell you, mate, I've seen my club lift the Premier League and they're playing Championship football next season. And for Tottenham as well, you're speaking knowing damn well you've played against the worst Leicester City team twice and you haven't beaten us. We beat you.
They lost
away from home.
They lost to us alone.
Like, what do you say? It's absolutely crazy. And I think Tottenham fans, they're grasping at any straw.
They need to get back in their box because they won't see their team to win the Premier League like we have. So get back in your boxes.
Harry Kane had to leave Spurs to win a trophy. That says it all. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has won one now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
Going on to the to this El Canoes bit. I mean,
Yeah, talk to us, mate, about
that. What on earth's going on there? I mean, he should. I think for me, he should be worth. I think he's worth something like 30 to 40 million. I think. But why are we looking at selling for around the same price, man?
Rodkinomics.
It's stupid.
Mm.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I keep saying. I mean, I suppose, Doc, the same argument again, like we just said about Rude, is he wouldn't have come otherwise. Unless we put in the release clause. But to hear now, apparently, allegedly, before somebody says I'm spreading fake news, allegedly we have a 15% sell-on clause that we have to give Ghent as well.
Yeah,
barely any profit, Ryan. Very annoying.
It's ridiculous. That just makes you wonder why are we doing this? I mean, I just don't.
Yeah.
You wonder why I don't trust this idiot of John Woodkin, and this is why I said the other week why in terms of the fact that he should be in a different role, different capacity. This is why he just ain't good enough to be director of football. That end of fact.
Yeah. Too many mistakes, and Top just doesn't make the change, Doc. Because this is why I don't moan about Rodkin anymore, really, because it's Top. Top's the one who keeps him in place, who keeps him in his job.
Yeah, I think to me he just needs to make some change around that. I'm fine if Rodkin stays as his personal mental support or whatever, sits there at games laughing with him, but I mean, it's just, even if Rodkin was capable, we would be begging for him to get help, because you can't have just one director of football doing it all. And I think Rob told it as well. Since Susan Whelan is now only focused on increasing the revenue of the club, she isn't really there to help them make decisions either. So it's Top who makes the decision, and then John Rodkin is just there with all this burden on his shoulder. He needs help. Like, if he was the most competent director of football in the world, he still needed help, because he wouldn't be able to do all this alone.
But the opportunity was there when Enzo Maresca came out and said it after he left.
But they did nothing, and that's why I think at this point the arrow, even for me as someone who really likes Top and everything, it starts pointing towards Top has to, in my opinion, change the structure of the club at the top this summer, or I'm beginning to believe that he should just leave the club.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
Having listened to Enzo Maresca, would we be in this position today?
Maybe not.
We wouldn't.
It's not a quick fix. It's not an easy fix. It will take time, but it feels like it's not even started. The process hasn't even began in fixing the club.
If you don't start it, then you won't fix it.
And the fans have to answer for this as well, because what I mean by that is I can fully see a transfer window, a few new players, and a new manager, and people will just not everybody, but a lot of people will just forget about it, and you can't let that happen, because it will be the same. No. It will just be a vicious circle going round in circles, and until a real structure is put in place at the top. Modernize, adapt, and we haven't. We're in the exact same state that we were at the top for 10, 15 years. Do you know what I mean? And football,
it's outdated. It needs change.
Yeah, 100%. Ryan, thanks for calling, mate. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
We'll hopefully see you next Monday after Vardy's just scored his 200th goal against Forest.
Yeah, hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Cheers, Ryan. I'm writing it into existence. Right. 3 more callers, two more, and then Manny. Let's get in. I think it's Charles next. It is Charles from the Dallas Foxes. What's going on, Charles?
Good. How guys? How you doing?
Hello, mate.
Doing good, man. Doing good. How are you? For once, maybe waking up so early to watch a Leicester game wasn't too bad since we got a win.
Yeah, it's we're used to it now, so we're all good. We're all good. Not as bad as Australia, and I think the Australia link would be even worse. That's completely different.
Oh yeah, maybe you can talk with Luke about that. I think he's been struggling a bit getting up that early, and I understand why, because I told him as well. I think
you got to be a young pup to do that. Yeah.
If I was in Australia and I would wake up to watch that shit every week, at one point I would say, fuck it. I mean, until we win a game, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a few things. Obviously, a great win on Saturday. Clean sheet as well. So Okay, I'll start with. I got a few points. Okay, Bilal's agent. Do you know who his agent is?
I'm not sure.
It's his mother.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
He's not in an
No,
agency.
it's not a super. Because I was thinking, okay, who's this? Is he got a super agent? You know, where they come in here and just like, we demand this. We do. You know, we got so much experience. It's one of those, you know, in-house things, and it's his mother. So if Rudkin can't handle Bilal's mother, we are in a bit of trouble.
That's what
I
I was thinking.
understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If he lost the negotiation battle to Bilal's mother, I mean, could he fall any lower? I mean, maybe spending £20 million and skip. I don't know if he's in a part of the
they keep the commission.
well.
That's what it is. Obviously, instead of spending cheap. Yeah, there's a few people who have their parents involved, but yeah, that's a bit weird. So, I mean, obviously, when we signed him, there probably was a get out clause in case we do get relegated, because they are ambitious, and I don't blame them. But that's a low one to accept. Surely they would try and do a bit more than 20 odd million. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with.
I just read an article as well. I think yes, it was his mother. I don't know if it still is though, because it says according to this website, his current agent also looks after a few different talents in Europe. One of them's Lewis Openda, who plays for Leipzig. So yeah, I think it's changed maybe, but I did. But
originally, it would have been when he did the deal. I think it was
yes,
his mother. So
it was his mother.
Point is, yeah. So
yeah.
Okay, another one. Who would you take if you were a champ? If you were a Premier League team, who would you take, Mads or Ramsdale from Southampton? Because Ramsdale is on, obviously looking for a move, and there's not going to be. I don't think there's going to be that many people looking for a goalkeeper. I mean, Ramsdale comes because he's English and well, that's probably got a tax on it. But I'm saying he's on the market now. Obviously, Mads, I prefer Mads to Ramsdale. And Ramsdale's had a few relegations, but he's a good keeper. So if people are looking around, hopefully, I mean, we've got to sell Mads, obviously, but there is competition out there of who people have a choice for, I think.
For me, it's Mads all day long, Doc.
Yeah,
Danish
I agree.
Glasses to the side.
I agree. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't see him going to. I don't know why Chelsea wouldn't come knocking. Because the Enzo link, obviously, and they are struggling for goalkeepers. They haven't got a really good one. In Arsenal have got Reyes, right?
Yeah, they've got Reyes.
He's good.
Am I delusional to think a bit about? I've thought about Man City. I think Man City would be a great fit for him. And I mean, Ederson hasn't been at his best. Stefan Ortega's also got game time. Not looked brilliant. I mean, I think he would slot right into Pep Guardiola's system.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Ederson's better.
Yeah, but Ederson's very old.
Is he? Is he very old?
He's old, but not very old for a keeper. Not very old for a keeper. He's definitely getting up there, though. And I don't think I've not been impressed with Ederson anytime I've seen them. And I think I've not been impressed with Stefan Ortega. I think they have room for improvement at the very least. And I mean, to me, I think that Chelsea is the obvious one, right? But like all the reports that are coming out is that they have so many options now. Petrovic is coming back from loan. Mike Penders, who's on loan at Genk, who they bought on loan straight back. And I mean, they still bought Philip Jørgensen, another Danish goalkeeper who played in Villarreal for a whole lot of money. And I mean, Robert Sanchez has been a bit better recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
haven't managed to watch the game. So like, that's 4 goalkeepers and 2 of them who they've bought very recently. So I think Hammonds would be great there, but at the same time, do they really have the money to spend more on the goalkeepers?
Yeah. Haven't they got 9 goalkeepers or something like that on their books? Some crazy.
They've got a lot. I was going to say, he's linked with Brentford, Mads Hermansen. I mean, with that one, he's guaranteed to start. Yeah. He's got his Danish links. He's got the manager, of course, and a load of players who are Danish. You never know, Charles. He could end up at Brentford, stable Premier League club, no risk of relegation.
The bus stop, right? Isn't it they called the bus stop? Do you want to go there? I mean, obviously they're probably locking into a middle of the Premier League every year, maybe a bit higher. Well, they're a bit higher than that now. They're doing really well. They're almost going for Europe, I think. But maybe maybe. I think there'd be
that's
hopefully.
because of all the Danes in it, Doc. That's why
Yeah.
they're going for Europe, right? All the Danes.
Of course. I mean, do you see how much the Danes impact their team? I think
Here we
Brentford
go.
are just a really brilliantly run club. I mean, Mikkel Damsgaard as well is a really, really good footballer, and I mean they have plenty of more. Their captain as well from Denmark. Their coach is, someone who I'd love to have at Leicester, although I know it would never happen. In Thomas Frank, but yeah.
Man United's a shout. Somebody said Man United because Onana is dog shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So
maybe. I think Man United are not going to splash the cash with Radcliffe, whatever his name, in charge. He seems to be reeling the money in.
I will say though,
they're like 15th now, though, aren't they?
But it's still a big club, right? The pull is unbelievable, and I think if the rumored price for Hamilton is 25 million, it's not splashing the cash, right? Didn't they spend 50, 60 or something on Onana?
Yep.
Yeah, something like that.
And staying on goalkeepers, wouldn't you keep Everson? Why would you get rid of him? He was good. He was
I just don't think he wants to sign an extension, right? Does he not just want? I think he just wants a bit of.
Nobody wants him. I don't think. I don't know who.
Preston. He's linked to Preston North End. Yeah, he's linked to.
Yeah, he's popular in the Championship, right? He was loaned out there years ago before we even got relegated the first time, and they lost him playoff the season. And then that's when he came back, right? And we thought he was going to fight with Danny Ward for the starting spot. Turned out Danny Ward had about ability to drop 20 stingers before he got benched. That's how close the battle was. And then Everson came in, showed he was horrible with his feet, but a great, pretty decent shot stopper. And I mean, in the Championship, many teams, they just want a decent shot stopper.
Yeah, 100%. What do you make? We've been talking about it a lot tonight, Charles. Let me ask you now. I'm seeing lots of chatter on social media from Leicester fans who are swaying more towards Ruud van Nistelrooy staying in charge, and I'm finding it crazy that it's happening. What do you make to it?
We got to make a decision pretty quickly whether we're going to pay him off or not. We can't wait. You're right, because we might have to wait till June 30th or whatever for PSR or whatever that day is to take the money into the next year. But something's going to be done, because Danny Roll, if you want him, Southampton apparently all over him because they haven't even got a manager. Now, does he want to take over a train wreck of Southampton? They do have the youth team, or people like us. They have a very good academy, and their players are underperforming. But if they come in before us, would he go to Southampton? Okay, so if he goes there, who are we left with? We could be left with just Ruud van Nistelrooy, and then you've got to weigh up the options. If they sit down and mark their own homework and bring Ruud in on it and say, okay, what can we do? And he does some crap about, I know my contacts at Man United and wherever, and I can bring in these youth on loans and do that and have my own team and just BS them. We could be stuck with him, I think. And also on the PSR, I don't know how much to pay him off. So we could be stuck with him. I can't see him quitting, really. I mean, he looks lost half the time, obviously, and not interested. I don't know where it's his demeanor, but I can see us being stuck with him next year and next season. And then unfortunately, after 10 games, if he's crap still, and he's done it we're screwed. We're in the same thing of who do we get after 10 games. If he's
I think Manny and I can't remember if it was Manny or Anil, they said something similar the other day. They said, we're going to be in the same situation like Ruud was, where he's got the next manager would have a squad of players that he doesn't really know and that he doesn't really like, or he might not want. And, I would rather just bring someone in fresh this summer, let them have the transfer window, let them mold the squad that they want and go from there. But Ruud's already lost a few of this current squad, he's already lost them. So, yeah.
We've also got the, what are we going to be hit with? Are we going to hit with a transfer embargo? What are we going to be? Who? That's up in the air. We are where we were beginning of this season, trying to attract somebody when we've got a points deduction, and this one's coming. The beginning of the season we thought we were going to get one, but we got away with it. This one we are going to get something, and the scary thing is, I don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be 10? Is it going to be 5, 3? I think it's going to be awful.
We just don't know.
No, and with that hanging over, and the EFL, they can do whatever they bloody well want. But I mean, transfer embargo could be an option as well, or either or both. Or I can't see them telling us to sell players and telling you've got to get rid of these guys. Offer came in, you've got to sell them. I don't know whether that's part of it, but we could be in a situation whereby we're losing a few players, and they're telling us, I don't know when they have to tell us by, you can't buy players. And then who wants to go?
I think
you'll be stuck with Ruud van Nistelrooy and his, whatever. I mean,
I think we're gonna generate enough money in transfer fees to bring players in. That's for sure. It's not just to confirm. This isn't true, by the way. Fans talking about the embargo and deduction coming our way are simply making it up. I mean, we're not making it up. It's been said. It's been told by multiple journalists who follow Leicester and have done for years. This is true, though. There is zero evidence that we have breached. That is true. The EFL are quite clearly they're trying to get us for what we dodged the Premier League for.
Right.
That's what they're trying to get us.
They will punish us hard, right? And I think,
yes.
I mean, you can say that there are many reliable journalists, and there for sure are claiming that there will be something happening, right? I do think that that's the one area where I'll give the board a bit of credit, because regardless of how many reliable journalists have said we would have breached heading into the Premier League season, and in the halfway of the Premier League season in January as well, all proved to be wrong, because the club have just managed to stay within the boundary. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure we'll be under huge restrictions from the go, but with the rule change, though, there is a chance that if we don't offload enough players when we hit March, we could get a point deduction for not following the PSR. So, it will definitely be a thing that will impact our strategy in terms of sacking managers, getting managers, signing players. If we'll end up with a points deduction or transfer embargo, that won't be for sure. But just like the last many transfer windows, PSR will dictate how much we're able to spend, how much we need to sell for, and all those things, right?
Again, we were found not guilty of breaching in the Premier League. That's what we've been found not guilty of. So there may be another court case that goes through with the EFL. We just don't know. But that's what we've been found not guilty of, the EFL. Sorry, the Premier League, not guilty. Right, Charles, thank you, mate, for joining. I'm going to tell you what I've told everybody else. Next Monday, after Vardy's got his 200th goal, make sure to join us, mate. All right.
Fingers crossed.
Nice
Hope he
one.
does it. Hope he deserves it.
Absolutely. Right. Charles, thanks, mate. Go and watch Forest Bottle Champions League. They're playing now, mate. Go and watch that.
Right.
See you in a bit, Charles. Thank you. Okay. Pay the promotion boss now, said Planet Earth. Yeah. They simply cannot punish us for the closed case. Yeah, the case is closed with the Premier League, although actually it's not closed with the Premier League, by the way. They appealed They appealed the appeal. Yeah, they appealed the appeal. So yeah, anyway. Right. Aaron is up next, the last caller before Manny, who's gonna finish off the stream. Let's get Aaron in. Hello, mate. What's going on?
Hello, is this working this time?
Yeah, not loud and clear, mate.
Yeah. All right. The Bilal fee's a joke. You shouldn't have put a release clause in the first place, because clearly you didn't learn from the Kante situation. All them seasons back.
Yeah.
Putting a release clause in and then getting a fee way too cheap for the player, because that Kante fee was way too cheap.
Yeah, we got I mean, to be fair, at least with the Kante one, Aaron, we made like £25 million profit, right? But for this one, we're making pretty much nothing, which is a big shame.
It's Delulu. You just don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
I can't go more into it with Rudkin, to be honest.
Yeah, the doctor of Rudkinomics. It's just frustrating, Aaron, because we all I think most of us have pretty much like said we want to go back to the model where we can bring players in and sell them on, in the future for a bigger price and make a nice bit of profit on all that stuff. But this one, one of the only real sellable assets that we have, along with Mads Hermansen, and he's going to go for no profit.
Should be getting about 35.
That's what I feel too, right? You wouldn't
40.
expect us to be able to get the 30-40 million pound profit, since we're going down, we would be selling him at a cut price deal, but not getting the 10, 15 million pound profit is disappointing, especially when you can see it that there is just a ceiling of a superstar in him.
Yeah, he plays for the shirt, and he's been the best player out and out this season.
Do you think? Is that who you'd give it to?
Yeah. Every time I've seen his play, I've not seen him not try. Like, you can see every other player on the pitch not trying, then he's the only one trying. That's what it seems like.
He would be my number two. He would be my number two. I think, obviously, the start of the season, the first under Cooper era, he didn't really have anything to say, right? And that obviously changed when Ruud came in. But I mean, for me, it would be the Danian goal, of course. I think the only reason we have half the points we have is because of him, and especially his top 3 keeper in the league form throughout the first 3-4 months.
Yeah, the first part, Mads definitely, but the second part, Knuis is kind of that's what makes it a debate now.
I think it's a fair debate to have. I mean, but I think there is no doubt in my mind that the person who's won us most points this season it's Hermansen.
It was exceptional the first part, to be fair.
And I mean, and the part when Bilal has shined and been great, it's not led us to much, right? We've not gained many points from Bilal's excellence, despite him trying heavily to do so, but just not being able to bring it over the line.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for next season. I want to see fast players on the counter. I want to see Mongo in the cam, Fatawu and Mavididi at either side. That's what I want to see. Even shove Jake Evans up front and get rid of Daka.
As it stands, Daka's going to be the only striker at the club next season.
Just shove anyone up front. Shove fucking Mavididi up front. You'll probably do a better job.
Yeah,
Did he play there in the French league? I'm pretty sure he played at striker at one point.
Mavididi, yeah, he did. He played as a striker every now and then, and as a winger, of course. I think he even played in the number 10 a little bit as well. So he has done it before. Just a quick one. We've got a Watford fan, random, talking about cheating because of the playoff semi-final where Knockout went down and won a penalty.
Speaking of prospering, what's Watford prospered into for those past 5 years? Sacking 10 different managers and moving fuck all in the table? I think that's the biggest prospering they've done.
If a Watford fan wants to talk about cheating and controversies, then just ask Watford fans about the forged bank letter case. I'm sure he's aware. They forged a letter back in 2016. They got fined millions by the EFL for it. So they have history as well. So anyway, Steffi number 10. What do you think to that, Aaron? Could he play in the number 10?
I'll put him up front personally. I think he's got the capabilities of being up front. He'd be better than Daka, put it that way.
What about Manga? What about Manga in the 10? That's his preferred position according to himself. Would you be open to seeing that? Maybe if Bilal went, we've seen Manga. He definitely has talent, that's for sure, at 15.
It's the speed. I want Mongo in the camp. It's the speed. Imagine how fast that is on the transition from defence to attack. That's what we've missed all season. We've not had pace. You put 3 rapid players. No team's really going to stop that, are they?
Yeah. What's this here? We found a loot pot. Well, you were fined millions for it. You were fined. We've got Leeds fans here. What do you make to the Leeds fans, Aaron? The Leeds fans are coming champions again at LA. Do you think they'll stay up next season, mate?
No.
I'm a bit happy for the Leeds fans, though.
You're happy?
They need to get 40 points. They need to get 40 points, and I don't see it happening.
They need to get a lot of points, and they need to rely on another club having a horrible season. By the looks of it, West Ham could be the team to try and beat, because they need to, just like we did in the season we got relegated, they need to sell before they can buy. But I mean, it's been fun seeing the Leeds fans celebrating, in particular going back to all the Leicester comments, because apparently, I'm not sure if they realize they have a high chance, if they don't get things exactly right, that they will be in the exact situation they are laughing about us being in a year's time, and we could be on the other side of it. So I think, I'm happy that they get to enjoy it now, because it is a nice celebration. I had one of the best nights out of my life when Leicester got promoted. And And then we have some good laughing material in 12 months' time when they get relegated, and we might be going back up. And then all those comments from our post 2 years ago and their responses this year, we could then keep the cycle going.
Yeah. Leeds are the best Championship side I've ever seen, way above the level deserved.
I've seen Leeds play this season. They are not way above.
They only won on
maybe.
goal difference, man. Burnley should have won it. Burnley should have won that.
Burnley were boring too, mate. How did you? If you saw them during the winter period, they got the points.
The defensive stats don't lie, and the losses don't lie either.
Yeah,
they got lucky that Burnley drew a game. If they won that game, they wouldn't have won the league, mate.
Can we offload all our players to Leeds? Patson Daka, if you need fast twitch fibers and attack Leeds instead of Patrick Bamford, come to us. We've got Patson Daka for you.
Only don't say that.
Wrexham,
they don't say that because they might come and take Bilal and Mads, and we'll take Melier off them. Can you imagine that?
Give Leeds Ward.
Yeah, give them Ward. Yeah, they do like the Welsh ones. Yeah, like Dobster says it, like Ryan said, Premier League is totally different level. Leeds will have some problems that other promoted clubs. Yeah, for some reason, the Leeds fans do think that they're just different. But
we thought that too last season, right?
Exactly.
But there's the sum of uncertainty, and I think for us right now, I'm sitting with a gut feeling that if we don't lose out big in the summer, we should be able to contest for promotion next season. The summer can reinforce that belief and make it even more confident, or it can completely shatter that. I was confident of us at the very least putting up a very good battle of staying up, but that instantly changed when you lose your star player and your manager, who I thought was revolutionizing our club. And I mean, I think if they sack Daniel Farke and get an actual competent manager in, that's a good start. If they, start upgrading positions where they, I'm seeing words that Junior Firpo will do well in the Premier League. How did he do last time, mate? You kind of forget your players who aren't quite Premier League level when they do good in the Championship, that they aren't Premier League level. Because I remember thinking many of our players who dominated the Championship but weren't good enough. Dude, we can't be serious, man. What is this? Who's rage baiting in the chat here? Small club, small form, hence why you're in our league.
Yeah, crazy.
The rage bait is unbelievable.
The only moment that makes them famous is the Troy Deeney moment. That's all they're known for.
Yeah,
which we were involved in. Watford's biggest legend is Elton John, who they named a stand after.
They did.
That's literally, yeah, they did.
That is so
right. It's so Timbot. Right, Aaron, thank you for calling, mate.
Thank you, Aaron.
Much appreciated.
I want to leave with this one on Mads. I think there's going to be several clubs, not just one.
For sure.
I see Newcastle. I see Man United with fucking Onana. He's worse than Adrian. No. I'll say Aurelio Gomez. Actually, that fucking guy was that guy was horrendous. I won't say Chelsea because they got too many keepers, to be honest. But there is a few teams that will get the price up because they're going to outbid each other. So that's the way I see Mads. I think it'll be a 35.
Right? There is no release clause, so we can keep, if more clubs come in for him, I think we could get that price up to 35 million pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm loving the comments about Elton John. Right. Aaron, thanks, mate. Thanks for joining. We'll see you soon, Aaron. Cheers, mate. All the best. Right. To end the stream here, he supports two clubs as well.
In the same league. See, that's crazy.
The same league. Wow.
That is crazy.
He's roasting himself more than we could, right? He's roasting himself.
At the very least, Perigin, you should be able to know that we'll have the best centre back in the league next season of Ben Nelson, mate. So enjoy our talent for the season you had him. He's back at an actual big club now, who has 4 stands and not 3 and a fucking car park. Even my local Danish club has a better stadium than Oxford, mate. You're absolutely tin pot, and there's 50,000 civilians, or population of my town, and that is a shit club. We're playing in the 3rd tier of the Danish football, so get a grip.
Can you imagine supporting 2 teams and it's Oxford and Watford? It's like I support 2 teams. Who's the first one? Oxford. Oh, okay. Who's the other one?
Maybe that's your local, right? Maybe that's your local. And then when you grew up, you moved to London, and all of a sudden you find yourself singing "North London Forever." That horrible shit song. And but no, you actually decided to watch a Ben Foster vlog and think that's the club I want to support.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Anyway, let's get in. Here comes the Manny to finish off the stream. What's going on, mate?
Evening, chaps. How you doing?
All good, mate. All good, all good, all good. What have you made to everything tonight, mate? We've spoken about a lot. I know you've been watching and stuff.
Yeah, I've been plugged in. Good show, as always. Some good points, some horrible points, some people missing the point entirely, as usual.
I'm not sure if I can handle another many fast Twitch Vipers rant, but what do you have to say, man?
I don't think I need to keep going on about it. I've been going on about it long enough, but I think those that are willing to be converted have been converted. I'm just watching.
About it. I think you could make a pretty penny, actually.
It's definitely a point. I'm just watching Palace at the moment, and they're playing pretty well against Forest. And I think front three of Eze, Sarr, and Mateta. What do they all three of them have in common?
Oh, come on. We know they have pace, Manny. We don't want to talk more about
There we
pace.
go. But, look, we're going to talk about Rude. First thing I'll say about Rude is I would look at the last number of games as like Rude in the shop window for his own job. So I want to see, he's talking about things like alignment, and I've had a chat with the board and I know what I want. Well, let's see some examples of that on the pitch then. What is next season
he hasn't had a chat with the board since when he first came in, it sounds like.
I don't know.
He's like desperately double texting in the interviews, I need alignment. Let me talk with the board. I mean, I think he's in the shop window, Manny. I agree with you there. And I think for me, what would make my opinion of him improve is living up to all the great things he said, about playing the youth more and like all of these things about the future, right? If he really were to try and get me to back him more, I need him to start Monga next game, for example.
Not just Monga. Why did he sign Buenanotte last week and he's a lone player? Why is he signing even Connor Cody? We're not going to learn anything from Connor Cody playing right now. We know what Connor Cody, he's been playing for years. We're not going to learn anything new. So every week is an opportunity. Like Woyo's on the bench. Like we haven't seen Woyo for months. Let's see if Woyo is capable of playing next season. I know there's a lot of fans of Luke Thompson here and I'm not one of them. But we know what Luke Thomas can play like. He's played 50 games for us. Well, let's have 100. A look at. Okay, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at. Woyo. Let's have a look at the options we haven't seen. People are saying Skip's going to be our midfielder because Wilf's going to leave. Yeah. Well, Chris, dear, he's having a go at pipes today. Anyway, but we've had a look at the usual suspects. So, Ndidi's going to leave. So why not play Skip? Either to put him on the shop in the shop window, or because he's going to play next season. What is the point of playing Ayew and Cordova Reed? We know what these players have done year after year after year. What do we learn? Nothing. What would we learn about seeing Monga or Evans play? Quite a lot, actually. What would be more exciting from the fans' point of view? It's not just demonstrating to the club of this is what my plan is going to be next season and here's a little glimpse of what you're going to see. You've got to win over the fans. Like the fans don't want you to stay. So if it was me, I'd be saying, right, well, we've got to change something here. I need to give the fans, get them on my side. How do I do that? Easy win. Play young players. They've come through the academy. We'll all like that. You'll get more leeway from the fans as well because we won't necessarily expect results because you've got that caveat that they're not just young, they're extremely young, right? But it also shows that you've got a bit of balls about you. And, I'm willing to take some risk. I'm willing to see if these kids are good enough. And let's see how they react to it as individuals as well. Let's see if they're going to be future superstars. There's so many benefits of going down that road. I don't know. When I see a team sheet again and I'm saying, are you scored? What we do? I don't care. I didn't learn anything new about that. What's the point? And just to finish that little bit before you crack on with this, ignore this Watford bye. I'm not interested.
Well, no.
Right,
I'm not going to say anything, Manny. All I'm going to do is show this photo here. There we go. There we go.
You mentioned an AI while Manny was ranting about fast.
There is Mr. Prerogin with his half and half scarf. The Oxford fan.
Get this clown off. Get this clown off. He's taking my airtime. Get him off.
Here's another truth I have to get out there. Right. From the day Copenhagen played Leicester in the Champions League, I have a half and half scarf from that game because I kind of felt like I had to.
All right. Anyway, back to the points. Serious conversation. Ayew, he scored. We won. We learned absolutely nothing. Again, there's no. Rude needs to demonstrate his words into actions. Like Rude says a lot of the right things at times. I think he comes across extremely well. I'm impressed by the way that he speaks and things that he says, but he's in danger of becoming David Brent because you can often say what you should say, but your actions speak louder than words. And his actions are contrary to his words quite often. And particularly when it comes to this youthful, exciting outlook that we've been sort of chasing for a while. Next season, we have the possibility of having, as the previous caller, I think it was Aaron, said, Mavadidi on the left, Monga in the 10, because he is a 10, and Fatawu on the right wing, which fits in perfectly because Abdul's coming back. So excited about that. Those three have what I have always been screaming about, my favourites. I'm not going to say it again, but you know that. If we can find a striker, and we have to sell, we're going to have to sell Bilal, we're going to have to sell Mads, probably let Wilf go, we'll probably let one or two others go. Maybe Akoli will want to go back to Italy or something. But when we one striker away from at least the first team of having not just a unit that is fully capable of getting you promoted automatically, but also improving with age and a year under their belts, 50 games under their belts together, we've got a real fighting chance of doing well in the Premier League when we get back up.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna make a joke about how you knew that Monka wanted to be a 10 and you watching TikToks, but
Actually, Duck, asked Lux during the watch along on Saturday. You were there on the watch along. I said it on the watch along. I said I think this guy's a 10, and that's actually the day before Monga. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he later came out on TikTok saying it himself with Lux listening into the 16-year-olds' conversations.
We don't go into that.
Why? Hold on. Why is his age relevant in that?
I had to get that out there. Listen, sitting at 12 a.m. in your bed, listening to 15 and 16-year-olds discussing football, mate. Get a grip. Absolutely horrible.
Just in case because I think it's probably worth giving people the context. There was a TikTok live last night. Jeremy Monga was on there with a few of his mates who were playing for the Chelsea Academy and others.
City, I think, as well, one of them.
Yeah, and there were a lot of the juicy bit. None of us actually caught on video. There was apparently, we didn't hear it, a juicy bit where Monga himself said he's going to stay at Leicester. We struggled to get that out of him again. His mates did make comments like, yeah, he's going to stay at Leicester. Yeah, he's signing it. I know he's staying, blah, blah. But the clip in particular that Doc was referring to is this
Jeremy's
one.
next up, bro. He's Leicester's future. He's the next captain still.
No. Captain's brilliant still.
We're going to be like Zaha, bro.
Jeremy. Yo.
You know next year you want to play in the 10.
What you say?
You know next year you want to play in the 10.
Yeah, 10's my position still.
Why am I called Manny, by the way? Could you please change the over? This feels like blasphemy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be associated with that name.
In your dreams, Ducky.
10's my position. 10's my position.
And that was how the whole TikTok went, by the way. I do believe that Monka hasn't gone through media training yet, if anyone is curious about how the conversations were. One time, one kid actually answered very intellectually to a comment, and they all laughed at him for being media trained by, I believe, Chelsea's academy. So
this was yesterday, correct? This little snippet was yesterday, correct? Sunday. Is that right?
In Danish time, it was, I think, 1 a.m. actually.
Okay, well, Sunday or this morning, right? Technically, either one of those days. Well, the day before that, on Saturday, at the end of the watch along, it's recorded for you. I commented that I would want to see him at 10 because I said Bilal's going to go in the summer no matter what. I'm absolutely certain he's not hanging around for a year. There's going to be too many suitors for him, especially if that price is accurate. Then there's going to be a bunch of clubs wanting him at that number. So I would like to say, Rude, you've got 5 games left. I want to see Jeremy Monga. For me, is a natural 10. He's 2-footed. He's good in small spaces. He's brilliant on the half turn. He can create and he can shoot from distance too. That's everything you would want. He's like a Maddison but faster. You know, I think he's got that ability to not just control a game, but he can also beat the person too. I mean, he's just got everything you would want in a 10 because he's good going either way. That's why he can play left wing or right wing. The kid's got everything. So I would like to see him start at 10 in the remaining games because that's what I want to see in the Championship.
I was going to say as well, we'll take what was said on the live stream with a pinch of salt because there was some piss taking going on. As you heard in the clip, his mate called him. He said he'd be the Zaha. What he means by that, I'm not sure. Does he mean a good talent playing for a shit club? Is that what he meant by that? I don't know.
They made some crazy comments on that TikTok. I think I spent 30 minutes of my night listening in and
Listen
I
to
mean,
16-year-olds, 15-year-olds.
at least I'm not a grandpa like Manny, right? So
Hey,
that
look,
would
you
be-
got hey, look, you got a journalism exclusive, right?
yeah,
That's commitment.
Losing the classes, busy staying up all night listening to 15 and 16-year-olds on TikTok.
I
and
was
it's
there till it
something-
ended.
Hey,
I was there till it ended.
you don't
I went to bed early,
you
I
don't
went-
see you don't see Rob Tanner tuning into those kids' TikToks trying to get information, do you?
But
You
the
see,
thing is, though, lots of
sorry, Rob.
spamming in
Just
the
joking,
comments.
just
so
joking.
the comments were
say
just
something
like
else.
kids trolling, right? And then you had blue tinted glasses, and he was trying to really be like, "How you doing, fellow kids?" So he was sending comments and like, "Jeremy Monga, the future of Leicester. Jeremy Monga signed a thing." And
I was trying to find the snippet. Yeah, I was trying to get.
And
a
he
snippet.
was
I
very
doing
much
it.
like that. The how you doing, fellow kids, with the skateboard. As Ong said, "Oh yeah, kids, mate. Jeremy Monga's going to sign the contract." And
No, I like that. Do you know what? One of the ways that we might convince Monga to stay, and maybe not just one contract, but maybe into his 20s, is if he really, one of the selling points that we do have is that this club will unite behind you as being a superstar for us. If you go to Man City or Madrid or whoever else, you'll be a bench player at best, and they've got 15 stars ahead of you in the pecking order, and they'll see a glimpse of you 15, 20 minutes. Here you can become a star. Do you want to become a star until you're 18, 19, 20? And you'll still get your move and your money 10, 15 years down the line. But part of that PR is for us fans to say to this kid how much we rate him, how much we love him, how much we will get behind him, how much we won't shit on him if he starts, having a few bad games. I think it's, one of the unique things is having a one city club is that you can really feel like, I'm king of this town. I'm the new sheriff in town. I think we want to give him that feeling.
He can be the next Vardy. He can be the.
Yeah,
he can be the Vardy. Yeah.
I think you realized that yesterday, right? Because when the news broke on that Reddit thread about him saying that, 100 more something people joined the TikTok, and 80 to 90% of the comments were about Jeremy Monk and staying at Leicester. I think one of the kids said this as well. Then he left for a short period, and he's like, "Yeah, now at least half the people are gonna leave." I mean, I think Jeremy Monk is very clearly feeling the love from the Leicester fans, right? Because he's someone who people have been uniting around as, regardless of what happens, he could be a star for the future.
Yeah,
there's no could be about it. This kid, as long as he doesn't start going out and taking meth and start going to Kyle Walker parties, start going crazy. As long as he doesn't start doing that, then he'll be good. He keeps his head screwed on football and goes to bed on time most of the time, at least. The kid's natural talent will take him a long way if he's got that work ethic with him. Which the fact that I think he's England under 16 or 17 captain.
Yeah.
That strikes me when you've got a squad of 20 kids and they pick you for being captain. That there's something quite mature about you. You see that in his performances on the pitch already, but probably beyond the football side of it too.
He was very much, in my opinion, he sounded like the most mature one on the video, and he kept his mouth shut quite a lot, to be fair. So he let his friends.
It's wise to do a lot of that.
Up until that one guy started speaking very intellectually to an announcer, and then he made fun of him for doing that.
Yeah. Jeremy Monga, if you're watching and you need a life coach or an agent, Manny is available to make sure you don't be
Just
make sure you're not
Jeremy
going to any
Monga
Kyle
on blue
Walker
tinted
parties.
glasses. He can sign the contract on blue tinted glasses live, right? Blue tinted glasses exclusive.
Half price of any other agent.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea, though. You can sign the contract live on live. On BCG.
I've got one for you guys.
Quick.
Ben Nelson. Is he available to play for us for the remaining games of the season?
Oh,
No.
He's still alone.
No one is.
But I thought
you have to. No, you have to register. You have to register him.
Can't you recall him?
You have to register him though in the specific window.
He's not in the 25 squad. Oh, so he wasn't in the January 25 as potential then.
No, we would have cut him from that at the start of the season and not.
That's a real shame because I would have liked to have seen 4 or 5 games of exactly what I said about Monga and said I want to see the same with Ben Nelson at the back. I would have loved to have seen Ben Nelson play, 3, 4 Premier League games at the end of the season because I think this boy has a bright future.
I think that's actually one of the biggest disappointments I could have at the start of next season is if we get the team sheet for the first game in the Championship and Stolasic and Ben Nelson are not 2 of the starting players. I think those have to be nailed on as part of the future here.
Yeah.
We're not shaping up too badly. We just, I think a lot of the focus doesn't actually necessarily mean to be signing players, bringing in. I think the real heavy focus needs to be on moving players out high earners, older players, the same old stuff I go on about every single stream, Manny Bingo. That is the focus. Can we get these players out of the door? And that will give us more ammunition to do the rebuild properly.
Yeah, 100%. Right, that's it. That's the end. That's it. We're 1 hour. Yeah, exactly. I messaged up this morning and said, "Don't worry, mate. It'll be only an hour tonight. We'll only be an hour. Don't worry."
You'll be paying me in Chipotle, not Chipotle, rather.
I've seen him a little bit. I've seen Jew a little bit. He's not too bad.
Let me say, as someone who actually knows Franklin Jew,
yeah,
great
he's all right.
pace, okay finishing, horrible
technicalities.
He's overrated. He can only
his touch isn't the best, and I'm worried about his finishing too.
His finishing can be very hard.
How has he got fast twitch fibers?
He is rapid, but his attitude fucking stinks. Don't sign him. He's too expensive. He's too overhyped.
No, because fast twitch fibers isn't just pace. It's about being able to do it under control. So I would say no. I need to see a bit more.
He can. Anyone saying to his quality though, he's overhyped. You don't have the money to sign him. You haven't watched a game of him. You haven't.
Yeah, I need to see more. Like I said, I need to see more before I make.
I'm someone who has actually watched him for many, many weeks and more than a year.
Yeah, but you've seen Vestergaard 100 times and you still think he's good. So
I think he's brilliant.
I mean, I don't know what to take. Get the glasses back on. Get the glasses back on.
I know Franklin Jew.
You went into a shop and you went into a football shop that sold blue shirts and you came out with a Chelsea one. I worry about you, Duck, sometimes. I really do.
You're a lovely twat, man. You're a lovely twat.
I'm only joking. I love you.
I know you're joking, mate. It's all in good fun. But Franklin Jew is shit. I don't think we should sign him. He's overrated. He's not a shit player. He's promising, but he would be overhyped because of how many eyes are on him, and he's definitely not worth the price I've heard being put on him. His ego seems to fucking stink as well. He seems to have such an arrogance about him that I really do not like. Although he is a very decent football player, and he is cutting it in the Danish league.
Well, if there's any player that we should ask about the Danish league, I mean, a third of the stream is normally about Denmark. I've learned a lot about the Danish Superliga. If anybody knows, Duck knows, right? So, club, if they're looking for a Danish scout, a correspondent, give him a call.
Yeah, I mean, I can be there for the night outs in Copenhagen and report on what the squad is doing as the club's official correspondent.
Just don't let him pick defenders. He's better with the attacking players. He's not so good with the defenders.
No, Victor Christiansen.
Okay, look, so I saw someone say that the pass that Luke Thomas made, Christiansen would never do that. He did that exact same thing earlier in the season in West Ham for our first goal on the route, by the way.
Actually, I know that we're drifting and it's carrying on a bit, but since we just focus on that defence attack scouting thing, do you know there's been a change in the way that people scout? They used to scout by geographical location. So, one person's responsible for South America. Maybe if you have a bigger team, then country by country. But now they break it down by position. So you are the defensive scout or you are the left back scout. Your job is to look at every single left back you can around the world and identify the ones that we want. So a new little change that's come into the game that we might.
Well, let's talk about it.
We will do another time.
We've got the summer. We're going to do lots of scouting reports. We're going to be going through loads of players. We're going to be coming up with names. Exactly.
Come on, Palace.
Right. See you all soon. Live Wednesday, 7 p.m. Fox's Den. We'll have a video out tomorrow as well. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. And thanks to all the callers. Caller of the day is going to Ross because he called Duck an idiot for wanting Ruud van Nistelrooy to stay.